Welcome in to the Veiled Archive.
Welcome back to the Veiled Archive. This week we are pausing our deep dive into a single text to widen our lens. The mandate of this channel has always been discovery, peeling back the curtain on works that often slip through the algorithmic cracks. Usually we pull these tomes from the depths of Kindle Unlimited. However, the hunt for transformational horror creates strange paths. Today, we are mapping the next month of the archive, featuring 4 distinct books discovered not just on Amazon, but in the thriving chaotic currents of TikTok and Threads. From a frozen, sunless world to the very real corridors of a historic asylum, here is what awaits you in the coming weeks. First, arriving next Friday, December 20th, we step away from our usual haunts to explore a work of high science fantasy that bleeds into the structural pillars of a horror we know so well. This discovery comes to us via TikTok, proving that the platform is a vital artery for indie sci-fi. We will be discussing Akasha, the Book of Ajord by A.J. Alford. Imagine a world saved from death, only to be plunged into darkness. This is a story about the cost of survival, where the elements themselves, air, earth, fire, water, and ether, are not gifts but tools of a despotic system. Alfred constructs a frozen, sunless world where asking questions is dangerous, and finding the answer might get you erased. We follow Akasha, a 16-year-old ice miner whose reality is shattered by a hidden journal. He must decide whether to join the oppressors or burn the system down to escape. Join us as we map this elemental dystopia. Following that, we move from the frozen dark to the scorched earth, discovered through the writing community on Threads. Our next entry explores the silence after the end of the world. We will cover The Ones Left Behind by Daniel Camposano. In this narrative, humanity abandoned Earth in search of new worlds, leaving the planet to ruin. Calamity from the skies rendered vast areas unlivable. Generations later, a lone survivor wanders the ruins, haunted and hunted by his past, avoiding all contact, until he hears a voice calling from the darkness. Separated by the wasteland, but connected through a radio, 2 survivors must bridge the silence. This is a story about the terror of isolation and the desperate, terrifying hope of companionship in a world that has moved on. It is post-apocalyptic sci-fi grounded in profound human fragility. For our third entry, we encounter a rarity in the archive. A few weeks ago, we explored the visceral religious horror of Father by Andrea Greaton. Now we turn our gaze to the other half of this creative household. We will be reviewing The Widow by Andrea Greaton. This marks the first husband and wife author duo we have covered, and the thematic link is palpable. While Zachary explores external cults, Andrea dives into the internal cult of grief. The premise is a terrifying psychological loop. My husband is dead. At least I think he is. He appears to her as if he never died, real, alive, and guiding her down a path to be together again. But she is forgetting something important. This book is for those who understand that when grief becomes madness, reality becomes a choice. It promises a descent similar to Black Swan, where the ghost is the mind itself. And finally, return to the hills of Appalachia. We have covered Joshua Bish extensively and will continue to do so, but now we turn to his brand new novel, available for pre-order now and officially releasing on December 12th. We will conclude this slate with Echoes in the Stone by Joshua Bish. This story takes us inside the infamous Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, where investigative journalist Ellie Marlowe begins researching the unethical lobotomies of Dr. Walter Freeman. She uncovers an unpublished ledger hinting at secrets far darker than medical malpractice, patients who never left, and a hunger older than the building itself. Alongside a tour guide and a haunted nun, Ellie must navigate a place where the walls remember and the dead whisper. This is psychological terror blended with historical fact, cementing Bish's place as a modern architect of Appalachian dread. 4 books, 4 distinct architectures of fear: the dystopian system, the silent wasteland, the grief-stricken mind, and the historical haunting. The hunt for these stories took us across platforms, from the algorithms of TikTok to the threads of social discourse, proving that the next great horror story is awaiting to be found if you know where to look. Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss the first entry next Friday. Until then, keep the archive open.